Welcome to the Jet Set Hers podcast. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Jamie. We discuss travel, adventure, and everyday life. Listen with us and let's go somewhere.
Hi, Jamie.
Yo, Jenny, what's up?
Just excited about this warmer weather we've been having. I get my second vaccine on Thursday, which I'm not looking forward to the side effects, but I'm ready to just start moving past all this crap.
Yeah, we had an 82-degree weather day yesterday, and it was absolutely fantastic. And guess what today is? 55 with rain. Guess what'll be tomorrow? 60 with rain. I'm ready for some consistent, decent weather. That's all I want. That's all I ask.
It is raining here. Saturday was gorgeous. It was 80 and sunny. And then yesterday the rain kind of came in and it's still here hanging out. But I'm hoping this is the last little bit of cold and then we're just on to summer. Optimism. I think I said that a couple episodes ago, but I think it's really there now.
Yeah, our spring is off to a pretty wet start. I like to say April showers bring May flowers, but it looks like in this year, April showers is bringing May showers. So hoping for some May flowers here soon because
They're coming.
I'm tired of these showers, Jenny. I'm tired of them.
Well, we're just really excited to introduce today's guest, Jennifer, and she is part of Dashboard Drifters. They have a blog and they're on Instagram. Her and her husband moved from Canada and became expats in La Paz, Mexico, living in an RV with their 2 puppy dogs. And we had a really great time talking to her today.
Yeah, such a great time we had with Jennifer. Awesome story that she had to share with us. And honestly, her dogs are living better than me. So pretty envious, not going to lie.
So yeah, here she is. Enjoy. All right. Hi. Thanks for coming and talking to us today. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, we are too. So just start off and introduce yourself.
So I'm Jennifer, and I'm one half of Dashboard Drifters. My husband and I are expats from Canada, and we live in Mexico in our RV, so a recreation vehicle. And we completely shifted our lives into the digital nomad world last year. And yeah, now we live abroad and we work completely online, and it's a wild experience, but it's great. And so now we live in La Paz, Mexico.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you definitely chose the right time to do it because where else to be during COVID than Mexico?
Yeah. Honestly, it was a crazy time. Definitely traveling in 2020 was obviously crazy. And the way things are in Canada, the lockdowns and quarantining and just the restrictions in general are pretty intense. And we discussed if we have to be locked down somewhere, it's better, in our opinion, to be somewhere where it's warm and, we have a pool and
right.
Just in general, things have been there's definitely restrictions where we are, but it's a balance and it's worth it, I think.
Where in Canada?
So I'm originally from Alberta, which is north of Montana. And my husband's from Prince Edward Island, which is Eastern Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spread apart. That's cool though.
Yeah, you guys are spread apart for sure. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, he's been in Alberta, or he was in Alberta for many years, 8, 9 years. It's kind of tricky to balance the family because you're oh, we should do Christmas in Alberta, we should do Christmas in PEI. So
right.
Good.
My family's super spread across the US, so I totally get that.
Yeah. It's tricky to balance visiting everybody and maintaining those relationships. So.
And now you can just do it from Mexico. So it's you can still fly and make it happen.
Well, I mean, in Canada, interprovincial travel is really discouraged, and in PEI, where he's from, so it's an island. And last summer, they actually shut down all the tourism. You couldn't go to the island. And this summer is kind of the same thing. You have to apply to go to the island and have, a 2-week quarantine plan and kind of a reason for being there. You can't just show up there.
Right.
So this year is kind of a write-off for as far as like traveling and visiting family because it's too tough from like in Canada, and so we just do a lot of FaceTime for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for FaceTime and Zoom
Yeah,
and all this.
exactly.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking to you right now. So,
Yeah.
do you have something you're drinking over there?
Yes. So I actually discovered this is my new favorite beer. It's Baja Brewing, and it's an IPA, but it's like
Nice.
grapefruit. Yeah,
You fit right in.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fit right in with me and Jenny. We are IPA lovers, so
Yeah.
Oh,
nice.
really?
So
Yeah.
where is that brewery at?
So Baja Brewing is in Cabo, I believe. So I'm not super into beer. I only started drinking beer again, like since being in Mexico. Like when I was like 18, we used to drink beer because it was super cheap. And then I was like, no, I'm over this. But now that I'm like here in Mexico, like we drink a lot more beer. So Baja Brewing is, I think, down in Cabo. So it's like 2 hours south of where we are. But yeah, I just discovered this beer. My neighbor had it, and he's like, do you want this? I'm like, okay. And it's delicious because it's super grapefruity. Like it's
Right.
like a shock top, but like a shock top on steroids.
That sounds really good.
It does sound really
And for
good.
not being a beer drinker, an IPA too, that's impressive. Straight
Right.
to something strong. That's
Yes, very.
And going back to when you were 18 drinking light beer, that's a lot different than like a good craft beer that you're drinking right now. So
extremely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like even like craft beer, it's like not really my thing. I don't know.
yeah,
My husband really likes beer, and
maybe you're heading that way.
yes, I'm developing a palate for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting older and more sophisticated.
Right.
Well, and sometimes it's just finding that right flavor or right brewery.
True.
Because I feel like no matter what, there's a beer someone would like. People that are like,
Yeah.
I don't like anything. I'm like, I bet there's a sour or a cider or something that you would like.
Yeah. Oh, a cider is, I'm like definitely a fan. The more fruity flavors for sure, but you know, trying to work my way up into the big leagues of beer.
Hey, I'm impressed. You have an IPA today. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Jamie, what are you drinking over there?
I have a Lagunitas Waldo special release. So it only comes out like this time of year, but good old Lagunitas, and it's very tasty and very strong. After the day I've had, it's perfect. It's perfect.
What's the percentage?
11.7.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I had never heard of that one
Take it
until
slow.
I was at her house a couple weeks ago, and
Yeah.
it'll hit you.
Yeah. That's like I think one of the things like I don't like about beer is I don't know what it is, but it like even like a light beer like really like hits me, and I'm like, oh, I just have like one, and then all of a sudden it's a party, and they're like, okay, I don't know what happened. I had one beer, but there's something.
Well, and it's
This is too
the
much.
bubbles, I think, because it's like the same
yeah.
as drinking like a bubbly wine versus a still. It's like it just gets to your head faster, I think.
All right, Jenny, what are you drinking over there?
Today I'm drinking Deer Giant IPA. It's from Little Beast Brewing in Clackamas, Oregon. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But I picked it out because the can is really cool. I'll show you guys. But it's like a mountain with like planets around it.
That is kind of eye-pleasing.
Yeah, it's a double IPA.
Ooh.
It's 8%, so it's pretty strong, but not an 11.7.
So we have an IPA, a double IPA, and a triple IPA. Very nice.
It's like we planned it, but we didn't.
Well, cheers, ladies.
Cheers.
Clink.
Clink, clink.
So what would you say inspired you to pursue this alternate lifestyle?
So an alternative lifestyle has definitely been something that my husband and I have talked about for like our entire relationship. So we've been together almost 7 years. We actually just celebrated our 2nd year wedding anniversary last week. So I was really excited.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
But it's been something that we talked about like 7 years ago. And one of our first vacations, I read the book, The 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss. Okay. So you've read it. If you haven't read it, I recommend it. It is life-changing. I've read it at least 3 or 4 times. every time I pick up something new, every single time I read the book, I like break down and cry because I feel like I'm living my life wrong. Like that was the initial time I read it. Like I'm on the beach in Mexico reading this book, like crying, and I'm like, I'm living my life wrong. Like this isn't the way we should be living our lives. Like we should be traveling and just, there's so much more to life than going to work on Monday
Mhm.
through Friday, coming home, eating dinner, having like 3 to 4 hours by yourself, going to bed, and then doing it all over again. Like there has to be more to life than that. And that was just, it was so motivating. Like that fear for me, it was the fear of being ordinary or just like living an ordinary life. It was terrifying, and it's still like a crippling fear of just getting stuck into that routine.
Right.
So, moving to Mexico was something that we had talked about actually on our honeymoon 2 years ago. We were at this margarita bar in San Jose, and we're drinking margaritas, and we're high on wedding and honeymoon and
Right.
love and whatever. And we're
Right.
like, we wrote down on a napkin like a contract to that we were going to move to Mexico within 2 to 5 years, and we were going to make it happen. And we signed it, and we had the waiter sign it, so
A
it was like
witness.
official. Yes, a witness. And we were like, this is happening. And then it just, so it's a really sad story actually. But one of my coworkers, she was like a little bit older than me. She was like maybe like late 30s, early 40s. And her husband died suddenly. He had a heart attack. They had just moved into their dream home. He left her and their two young children, and he had a heart attack and he died. And
So young.
yeah, and the it was so sudden, and it just hit me like it could happen at any time. Like something could happen, and life is too short. So, within a year of that happening, we sold everything. We gave up our condo, like in Calgary. Like we had a beautiful condo in downtown Calgary. We gave it up. We sold everything. We bought an RV, and we moved into it, and we drove to Mexico, and just just figured it out. Like you have to figure it out. But yeah, there's that fear of an ordinary, like boring life and just something happening, and then that regret of like not having done what we wanted.
Well, and that kind of puts together the tomorrow's not promised
Exactly.
philosophy mixed with the getting stuck in that work to get a house, to get a car. Like that's what they were focused on. And then unfortunately, life
Yeah,
turned on them.
exactly. It's there there's just so much more to that life, and like if that's how you want to live, that's fine. And I would never like look down on people who want to live that life. Like you want to get married and buy the house and have a good career and then have kids and retire, and that's amazing. But for me, I wanted to travel and have a little bit more flexibility, and just experience something different. And yeah, the 4 hour work week is kind of just how I live my life now, and striving for that optimization and automation of things that can be, so that I'm just doing the things that I want to do and that I like enjoy or that fill my cup, instead of things that I have to do, or that society tells me I have to do.
Right. And I think that's why it should be a lesson to those like, if that's what your goal is the house and the job and the career, that's great. But if you're sitting there only doing it because this is what I'm supposed to do, then that's when you should maybe step back and look at what you really want.
Exactly.
I'm buying that book.
Yeah, we've
Honestly,
had another guest mention the book too before, so
Yeah.
the second time
right.
it's been said on here.
Yeah. It's truly like amazing.
And congrats on like making a plan and you did it. You're in Mexico in less than two
Yeah.
years. So
Yeah. I it's wild. Like sometimes I don't know if this happens to other people. It happens to me where something I'll just be like driving somewhere, and I just take a moment and I'm like, it is wild that this is my life. Like, it's wild. It's amazing. It's wild. Like when you like sit back and reflect on it, like, if I was like even like 5 years ago, if we had talked, if you were like, yeah, in 2021, you're gonna be living in Mexico and like working for yourself, and like I would never have believed you. Like it's wild.
Right.
Yeah.
It's invigorating, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I have those moments here. I moved from Florida to Colorado for the mountains, and I'll be driving and just see the mountains, and I'll be like, I live here. Like, this is amazing. Even if I'm
Yeah,
having like a shitty day, bad mood, I'll see them and I'm like, I'm good because I'm having a bad day in Colorado, not in Florida.
exactly. I mean like Florida is somewhere like people want to go. But I totally get the mountains are like a source
Right.
of like power for me and like energy, like
Hmm.
instant revival when I see them. So I totally get that. But it is like, yeah, it's a bad day, but
I'm where I want to be. So,
yeah,
right.
exactly.
So it seems like you've been to Mexico a lot, like on vacation and now living. So what do you think draws you there?
Mexico is it's such a wild place. I mean, so we came to Mexico, like my husband and I came to Mexico. Actually, the first vacation we went on. So we started dating, and then within like 3 or 4 months, I was like, listen, it's December. Like, do you want to go to Mexico? Because it's cold. Like where we lived,
Right.
it's really cold. And he was like, sure. And my everybody, like my family, my friends were like, you just started dating this guy. Like you're gonna go on vacation with him. And I was like, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna figure it out. Like either he's good to travel with or we break up. Like that's long and short of it. So we came to Mexico. We stayed in San Jose del Cabo, which is like right near Cabo San Lucas, and that's like everybody knows where Cabo is. We just kept coming back, and we the first time we went to Cabo, we stayed at like a super bougie adult only resort. It was amazing, and I would love to go back, but it's really fun. And then the next time we stayed at like a regular resort, and it was great. And we, kind of dipped our toes in the water of exploration and left the resort,
Ooh.
you know. And
Risk takers.
yeah, wild. We're wild. And then the next time, we did a little bit more travel. And then the last time, we rented a car and we got an Airbnb. We didn't do the resort at all. And, we kind of explored that way. And actually, the last time we came down before moving here was last year, like in January. So right before COVID hit, like right before everything shut
Right.
down. But we rented a car. We had the entire mission of like coming down here and exploring and looking for an RV resort. And we drove all over the Baja Peninsula looking for a good place. And we had wanted to explore La Paz. It's a beautiful city. It's definitely a lot less touristy because there aren't any resorts. So it's kind of, a little bit more authentic and really like Mexico is just somewhere where when I get off the plane, my soul like breathes a sigh of relief that it's like, yes, like it's just such a wonderful place. Like it's not, I don't have any words to describe it. It's just like a feeling.
It's like where
That
you're
makes
meant to
sense.
be.
Yeah, exactly. But we call it like a wild freedom in Mexico. Like there's rules, but they're kind of like loose, and people, can do more or less like what you want, and there's less expectations, and you know, deadlines are pretty loose. Like, you've probably heard the term like a Mexican minute. Like people are late all the time. Like it's fine, you're in Mexico, like whatever, it's
Don't stress about it.
fine. Yeah, exactly. Like no stress, like whatever. Have a good time.
It's all
So
good.
yeah, exactly.
I like that that showed your evolution of getting to your current lifestyle, like exclusive resort, a little bit less, and then
Yeah.
exploring more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like growing up and the times that I had been to Mexico before, like when I was like a, teenager, like with my family and stuff, like there is a definite like preconceived notion of like when you come to Mexico that like it's not safe. And we've all heard in the news, like, oh, they left the resort and then they ended up dead or whatever happened. Like, there was a genuine fear or like uneasiness about like leaving the resort and how it wasn't safe. And so, it was an evolution of coming to Mexico multiple times and, seeing that things are safe. Like, there's obviously risks and there's risks anywhere you go, but it was an evolution of literally just baby steps of, getting your toes wet and traveling a little bit more. And, like the last time we came to Mexico, like this last time, like we literally drove an RV. We drove across the country. We drove 3 days across Mexico. We stayed at, whatever hotel could fit an RV in, or we just camped in like a parking lot. And, we took money out at an ATM and drove on the highways, like where there's no people. And, it's that exploration. Like I know for myself, I was a nervous traveler and I needed that. Like I needed the baby steps. I needed to get into the kiddie pool before I like get into the deep end. And now I feel like a much more confident traveler. But I mean, even for me, like when I talk to some people who have van lifed across like South America, I'm like, I don't know if I'm there yet in terms of travel, but like, I mean, for a lot of people, like I'm pretty brave, I guess.
You can
get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but it's
and you're working on getting there.
Exactly. Yeah. But not everybody has to be there. There's nothing wrong with just going to the resorts. Like you're missing out on stuff for sure, but there's nothing wrong with that. If you're uncomfortable, it's fine. Like it's still going to be a great vacation.
And it's good to be cautious about safety.
Definitely.
But I mean, even in the US, like people disappear walking in their neighborhoods all the time. So it's like anything can happen anywhere you go.
Exactly.
So as long as you have that level of caution and are smart, I feel like you can still explore safely.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing with Mexico is they're always like, oh, the cartel, the cartel. Okay, let's be real, guys. I am like of no interest to the cartel. I'm not buying drugs. I'm not selling drugs. I don't have any reason for them to bother me. When it happens, like when people get messed up or like mixed up with that kind of stuff, like, yeah, if you owe money or you get involved, like there's definitely times where people get like mixed up in like the crossfire. But I mean, you're not going to be targeted when I'm not
just out of the blue.
Right.
Exactly. So
which that goes right back to what Jenny said. Like you could honestly be just a random target in your hometown too. So
yeah, exactly.
So what would you say are the best things about your current new lifestyle?
Like everything.
I knew you were going to say that. I had a feeling you were going to say that.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely like downsides, but overall, like it's a great experience. Man, like living in a different country is something that I didn't really ever think I would do or like have an interest in. And now I'm living it and it's a great experience. So interesting to see how other cultures live and experience that like firsthand. Like I live here, you're obviously experiencing it. So the food is great. Mexican food is amazing, obviously. Like
we're gonna have to get into more detail on that in a little bit.
Yeah. The weather is great. It's super warm. I obviously grew up in Alberta where it is cold and it's nice to be warm and tan. Like I am super pale. I did like a DNA test and I'm like 100% like Irish and British. So I have like the super pale, freckly skin and like blonde hair. So now I'm like actually tan and I'm like, this is amazing. Like tan.
Natural tan. Right.
Yeah. Tan for me. So it's warm. The sun is amazing. I live 2 minutes from the ocean. So that's amazing. Like the ocean is amazing. Like I think just even living near it, like the energy and what the ocean brings in terms of energy is wild. The people are so amazing in Mexico, or like where we live are so amazing. Going back to that fear, people in Baja, especially, like if you ran out of gas on the highway, the next car is going to stop and help you. you blow a tire, like they're going to stop and help you and do whatever they can to help you. So generous, so kind. They go out of their way to help you. Like it's amazing. I mean, even the like expats that we live with, like the Canadians and the Americans, because it's such a different energy, you know, everybody's not stressed. People are so kind. But I think that goes back to just like not working stressful jobs, but so kind. So the people are nice, the weather's nice, the food is great. So many good things just about living here.
What would you say are the biggest challenges, probably aside from COVID not allowing you to visit family?
Yeah, COVID.
Right.
Dang. Yeah, the biggest challenge, I mean, like even if COVID wasn't a factor, being you're kind of isolated. Like when obviously when you decide to leave the country, like where you've grown up your entire life, you kind of get a little bit isolated. I miss my family. I miss my friends. You know, even if COVID wasn't a factor, like I can't just jump on a plane every weekend and go see them.
Right.
Like, okay, I don't have that much money that I can just go do that. But like obviously families and friends is a hard part. But do you know what honestly I kind of miss is, so when we lived in Calgary, we used to live like inner city, and we lived in Little Italy. And so we lived in this great neighborhood where there were so many restaurants that we could just like walk to.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like where we live, we kind of live out in like, I would call it like a suburb, but it's kind of like what it is. It's outside, like we're like 15 minutes outside of La Paz. So you can't just like get up and walk to a restaurant. You have to drive, and I kind of miss that freedom. And the other thing I miss, like I love Mexican food, but again, I lived in Little Italy, and so the Italian
Right.
place next door was amazing. And the like, you know, there's like Indian food, and there's so much more food options. Whereas in Mexico, like it's limited. And even if you go to like an Italian restaurant, it's not the same.
Right.
It's different. It's not quite there yet. So I miss that. I miss like the food and like cafes. That was another thing that we really did a lot, is like every weekend we'd go out, try different coffee shops, and like definitely coffee snobs. So now you're just like, it's not the same.
You have to just get really good at
Right.
making your own coffee now.
Well, I mean, the coffee in Mexico is really good and it's so cheap. I can't even explain. It's really good. It's just not the same. Like the atmosphere of like
Right.
your local coffee shop, like they don't really have that. But the coffee is really good. So we get this coffee from this roaster that's in La Paz, Batea, and you get a two-pound bag, so 1 kilo for 150 pesos. So that's like $7, let's say, $7 US. In Canada, we used to buy 1 pound of coffee for $20.
Wow.
Let's talk about the Mexican food real quick.
Yes.
Yes.
How good is it?
It's so good. So it's so good. It's so inexpensive. Food here is like, it blows my mind. The food quality and the food price is crazy. Crazy. So, I mean, okay, so we go through a kilo of tortillas, of fresh tortillas, a week. So you move to Mexico, you're like, I'm gonna eat so healthy. No, that's a lie. You're not. You're gonna eat tortillas.
I eat
And
tortillas every week.
Every meal.
yeah. And they're like made with just like flour and lard. So that was devastating to learn.
You're getting the authentic tortilla though, I guess.
Yeah, I know, but we're like, when we first got here, we're like, why are we like not losing any weight? Like we're eating really healthy because you're eating like fresh produce and fresh meat and rice and beans. Like you're not eating anything like crazy. And then we found out like what's in the tortilla, and we're like,
Lard.
oh, I wonder. And we
I
were
bet
eating
it's
like,
delicious though.
they're so good.
Right.
Okay, yeah. So back to the food. So I mean, the local food is so good. I mean, there's so many tacos. The best tacos. Okay, the best tacos in La Paz, everyone, is Transvina Tacos in El Centenario. The guy is open every day except for Wednesdays. 25 peso tacos. So that's $1 a taco.
Okay.
So you get your fish taco for 25 pesos. You get your shrimp taco for 30, 35 pesos. They're amazing. He has a salad bar. And now because of COVID, it's behind the counter and he just asks you what you want on it. I get a little bit of everything and the taco comes out and it is massive. I probably only need one. I always get two. I always regret it, but I don't at the same time. Literally the best thing in the whole world.
Well, now I have to
It
go
sounds
there.
really good.
Yeah. So the tacos are crazy. Enchiladas, enmoladas. So like an enchilada with mole sauce instead. Crazy. The Papa Reanos. There's a local guy. He's like 2 streets over. He has a little restaurant in his backyard, and he makes these Papa Reanos, which is like a giant baked potato, and then he puts carne asada and cheese and mushrooms and onions, and he has like this cream sauce that he puts on top of it. It's like a Mexican poutine
Yum.
to die for.
My mouth's watering.
Yeah.
Sounds really good.
It's delicious. The chilaquiles, and I might not be pronouncing that correctly. It took me a really long time to learn that word, but that's just like tortillas, like tortilla chips, and then they just like cook them in salsa, and then they just top them with cheese, and then you can get like an egg or chicken or whatever on top of them. Literally my favorite thing. I get them everywhere we go.
Those sound really good, to be honest.
It's so good. It's just like nachos that you eat with a fork, basically. So good. Yeah, I mean, it's out of control, the food here. So good. And then, I mean, your regular groceries, like, it's just so cheap. Like, if you eat what the locals eat, like, the price is obviously, it has to be low because, I mean, the wage, comparison, like, people need to be able to afford their food. But yeah, the price of food and the quality of your food is so amazing.
Where do you guys usually shop? Like, do you have like a big box store that's near there, like a box for Mexico, or is it mostly like fruit
Fresh
stands and
markets.
natural markets, like local markets?
Yeah. So when we first got here, and again, this goes back to the comfort thing. When we first got here, we used to shop at the Walmart. So
Oh, wow.
there's we call it like a gringo corner. So there's like a Walmart, a Sam's Club, a Home Depot,
Okay.
a Little Caesars.
Wow.
Very popular. The Little Caesars is very popular here. Guys. The
So
lineup
funny.
is super long. It's really weird. But anyway, there's this gringo corner. So we were shopping there originally. And then we kind of grew like more comfortable. So now grocery shopping is like a half day event because you don't
Different
just
little
buy everything at
stops.
one spot. Yeah. You go to the tortilla place. So there's a guy, he sells the tortillas. You buy a kilo of those. So the kilo of tortillas is 38 pesos. So that's $2.
Okay.
Okay.
Whoa.
And then you stop at the water place. And so we have like 18-liter. So that would be like 5 gallons or whatever, jugs of water that we get refilled because you can't drink the water.
Mm-hmm.
It's 12 pesos for one. It's $7.50 in Canada for the same. It's crazy.
Right.
It's 12 pesos, so that's like 75 cents. So you stop at the water place. And then we go to Lupita, and Lupita sells our produce. So she's a very nice woman. Her name's Lupita. And we buy all of our fruits and vegetables from her and salsa because she makes a really good salsa.
Mm.
And then we go to the local corner store, the tienda, and we buy rice, beans, pasta, tomato sauce, cheese, meat. They have like a meat counter. So we'll buy all of our meat there, and it's kind of like a deli. Like there's a counter and all the meat's in the cooler, and you kind of like point and pick out what you want and tell them how much, and they just put it into a bag and give you this meat in a bag.
I'm sure super fresh though compared to what we get.
Right.
It is like it's really high quality. Like it's different when you first get here and like you go into the store, like the chicken and like the chicken breast, like some people might think this is gross, but the chicken here is like the fat is yellow, and when you first see it you're like, that's gross and weird. but that's actually what the color it's supposed to be. And
Right.
like in Canada and the US, I guess they like bleach it or like color it so it doesn't look like that. Oh, I don't know, but
I'm not surprised by that.
it's
Not
super
surprised,
good.
exactly.
Like the meat is so good. Like it's probably the best flavor. Like obviously like, the steak is not the same. Like I grew up in Alberta. Like there's no comparison for like an Alberta steak. But I mean, yeah, the meat's really good. Yeah, so that's all your stops. And then, you know, when you need, there's certain things that you can't buy at the local store. Like you kind of have to go to Walmart. Like cereal products aren't really like locals don't eat cereal.
Right.
Right? You kind of have to go to Walmart to get that kind of stuff. 4 or 5 stops to go to get your groceries, but it's worth it. And it just becomes like your a routine. So it's
Right. And then you probably run into the
normal.
same people, so it's almost like your little interactions and
Yeah, exactly. And you go and you talk to them and
And you're
it's
supporting
nice.
your neighbors and the
Mhm.
local
Exactly.
community too. That's the best part. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the biggest thing is supporting the community and shopping at those little stores that, you know, if they close or they don't have sales, like that's a local family that, you know,
right.
doesn't have any money. So
Yeah, no doubt.
Is the Walmart a lot different?
no, it is the exact same.
Really? That's so funny to me.
Yeah. It's like the same brands. They have like the great value. It's the same, like the clothing. I mean, they have like different, like slightly different products, and like it's crazy because, you know, some of the products, like some of the flavoring and stuff is so different than where we're from. Like for example, yogurt, they have like 2 flavors, apple and strawberry.
I don't even think I've ever had
Everything,
apple yogurt.
Right.
everything is apple flavored. So yeah, the yogurts,
That's
there's
a
like
weird one.
2 flavors,
Yeah.
apple, strawberry, and then like your plain yogurt or whatever. And then same with like oatmeal, like, you know, you get the flavored Quaker packs, you know, there's
Mhm.
like brown sugar and
Right.
Yeah.
maple brown sugar, apple cinnamon, whatever, you know, everybody buys the same, like we all have the same oatmeal packs. Here, different flavors. So it's weird because it's like, oh, I recognize that brand, but the flavors are different because that's what the locals
Yeah.
eat.
Is everything in Spanish?
Yes.
That'd be so cool to
Everything.
see. Yeah.
It's kind of overwhelming, like when you first get here and you're like, when you first go to the Walmart, you're like, what do I eat? Like, what
Right.
do I normally buy? And you're like trying to like can only recognize labels, and you're like, I recognize that. I think that's something I can eat, right?
And so you just have to look for the logo and just hope for the best.
Yeah, that's basically how the first like 3 months were, which is like, I think I know what this is.
But now look at you. You're shopping local markets.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a comfort thing, right? It's the comfort. You're uncomfortable with certain things. You go to the Walmart. It's that familiarity. Like I can go into the Walmart. I know where stuff's gonna be. I know what the brands are. Like it's the same. It looks the same. It smells the same. It's Walmart. It's comfort.
It's the same as like your vacations to Mexico. Like you just got more comfortable and then started exploring more. There you go.
Exactly. It's the exact same. It's just it's building up that confidence and that like that comfort level.
Yeah. I got this.
Mm-hmm.
So talking more about La Paz, since that's your closest town,
Mm-hmm.
have you discovered any other hidden gems besides the taco guy?
Oh, the taco guy. Yeah, I mean, La Paz is so amazing. It's such a beautiful city. Like I said, it's a little bit more authentic because there aren't the resorts. You know, there isn't a huge influx of tourists, and the tourists that are coming are less like they're more like serious travelers, I guess, and less just like they're not just like partying like they would be in Cabo. Um, but I mean, like the entire Malecon, so that's like the boardwalk, the oceanfront boardwalk. You know, all of the restaurants there are so good. Like the ones that we've been to are really good. There's like an ice cream place, and it is amazing. They have like 40 flavors of ice cream. So good. Love to go get ice cream.
Is it
I
all like
love ice
fresh
cream.
made?
Yeah.
Oh,
She's like, of course, Jenny. What are you talking about? Of course it is.
everything.
I was not hungry when we started this
Right.
episode. Now I am.
Yeah, everything in Mexico is better. I mean, and then there's quite a few restaurants like in Centro. So that would be like kind of like the downtown core. Nomada is super good. Very like farm to table, fresh food. I mean, like everything is really fresh, but that's like kind of their like premise is that farm to table. And then there's a cafe. It's Dulce 40, so Dulce 1240. Dulce 40, and it's like the closest to like the North American cafe. So when we go there, like it's just like that comfort because you go and you get your
Right.
latte or your coffee, and you have like the pastries, and you get a brownie or you get a piece of pie or whatever you want, and you sit there and people are working and they have their laptops and stuff, and it's just like that familiar sense. Like that's something that we like miss
I was gonna
is
say, I
going to the
bet that's like
cafe.
your comfort place
Yes.
almost.
Yeah.
Right.
So I love going there and just having a coffee, and we'll just go and sit and chat, and it just feels like kind of like you're back. Such a nice, comforting place to be. And then they also have really good coffee, and they also have really good desserts, because that is actually one thing that I really miss is, again, like, okay, Italian food is different in Mexico, obviously, but like cakes and pastries and cookies are not the same.
Right. I was gonna
I
ask
don't
about
know.
desserts.
Yeah, it's not the same. And like desserts like aren't really maybe like as popular at restaurants. They have like it's just not the same. Like my husband and I, when we got married, we had 5 wedding cakes. So we had a wedding cake buffet. So we're serious. Okay.
That's
That's so cute. Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Now I want
We're
cake.
we're serious about a dessert. It's not the texture's not quite there, the flavor's not quite there. I don't know. It's just different. That's like the first thing. Like if I ever come back to Canada, the first thing I do is like I'm gonna go and get like a piece of cake. Batea for coffee, like the roastery. I mean, she doesn't sell anything but coffee. You go in there, she's got her 2 grinders going, and you just say like, you want a kilo of this, or she has like 2 options. One of them is like so she does like 2 different roasting practices, and one of them has like I think they call it like a honey roast, and it's just the way they roast it with, it's like a sweeter. There's like it almost looks like there's sugar on the outside, but it's not quite like that.
Ooh.
So you just, you want one with sugar or without sugar, and that's it. That's all she sells. So it's amazing.
That sounds amazing too.
Yeah, yeah. Everything is
Basically,
amazing.
if you're looking for good food,
La Paz.
you're in the right place.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think? I mean, I know it's not a huge tourist destination, but what do you think does draw people to La Paz? Is it the fact that it's more local and so you get more of that authentic feel, or is it like the beaches?
I think like for me, it was definitely that more authentic feel. La Paz definitely has, like, if you Google La Paz, the beach that's going to come up is Balajandra, which is like the most popular beach. With COVID, they've like limited the capacities of the beach, and
Right.
Balajandra, you have to line up at 5 a.m. to get there. So, needless to say, we have not visited that beach because that's crazy.
Right.
But it is, yeah, the beaches are beautiful. I don't know. Yeah, for me, I think it's like more the authentic experience. A ton of people are moving here. It's actually becoming an issue that so many people are moving here because they are approving building projects and residences and hotels. And while it's great for the economy, it's really, really, really bad for the environment.
Yeah.
La Paz is slated to be the first city in the Americas to run out of fresh water. It's like actually a documented like crisis. It's going to be a
Right.
huge problem. I wrote an article actually for the Gringo Gazette, which is like an English speaking newspaper here, and looked into it, and like, yeah, they're going to run out of water, and the government keeps approving building developments, but there isn't water to sustain the people that are already here. Like, that's one thing that's quite shocking when you move here. Like, it was quite shocking for us, is that the water is turned off on a regular basis. Like, probably 2 to 3 days a week, we wake up and there's no water.
Wow.
Wow.
So, they do water, ration water, and it's a serious problem. Like we have a tank, obviously, in our RV that we fill with water, and then the property has a cistern, like an underground cistern that we fill and keep that full because, yeah, I mean, a couple days a week you wake up and you turn on the tap and there's no water that comes out, so you have to go turn on the pump or switch it over. But
Right. You go
yeah,
to take that morning shower and it's like, oh, hold on.
yeah, yeah, you're like perfect. But like we have, there's everybody that lives here has a water tank, and they keep it filled because it is a problem. And but yeah, it's a
Wow.
serious issue for people. So now, like the cruise ships, they're building a cruise ship port, and next year the cruise ships are supposed to be coming here, which again is great for the tourism sector, but
Right.
it's terrible for the environment. The infrastructure can't handle those people that are going to come on vacation and then, oh, we should move to La Paz. No, 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 we can't.
Right. Use hand sanitizer when you can, but there's also been a huge hand sanitizer shortage. So,
There's so much hand sanitizer here. I don't
okay.
know. I
So
don't
it's
know
an
if it's not
option there.
here. Yeah, I don't know if it's a shortage here, but I mean, yeah,
We
like
only have it now because all the breweries started making it, and there's so many breweries here. So we have
yeah,
it, but it's that kind that smells like super strong vodka or something.
yeah. You're like, this is just straight up alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we didn't have sewer hookups when we first got into the RV, so we just had our tanks that like get full, obviously, and then they have to be dumped. So you become like quite aware of your water usage. But I guess like the average person uses 80 to 100 or 80 to 100 liters of water a day for like their personal use, like showers and washing dishes and brushing your teeth and washing your hands and going to the bathroom and whatever. My tanks are only like 50 gallons, I think. I don't know, my husband could confirm, but like if we went through that much water, like we would have full tanks like within like 2 days.
Right.
And now, like with the water shortage, like you just have to like really think about it. Like you have to turn off the water, like not use it, and like you're not watering your flowers every day, and
You
you
have to
just you
think about
can't.
everything you do almost in
Yeah.
that aspect.
Yeah, yeah,
Like pros and cons.
yeah.
What's more important?
Yeah, you have to drink beer instead of water.
Oh, we're good. I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
We can handle that one.
yeah.
You're in the right place.
So obviously you're a traveler at heart, like we are. So where do you see yourself going, like your future bucket list destinations? And we can say more travel, not like lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. So definitely like travel. The like interest in traveling has sparked so much more. Like now that I've lived in another country and like gotten used and like comfortable with
Comfort.
the idea of travel. Yeah, like more comfortable. Like before, I would have only gone to like a resort, and now I'm like, I could do that. I can get on a bus
Right.
and go somewhere. So I mean, our lifestyle revolves around our dogs. To be honest, we have, like I said, two 14-year-old dogs. If they weren't with us, we wouldn't live in an RV. Like we would have just got on a plane and come down here and like, got a condo. We have these dogs, so we live our entire life for them.
Oh,
We just bought
I
a
love it.
van. We bought a camper van
Okay.
so that we could take them places and they could be comfortable, so they could literally
awesome.
lay in a bed the entire time. So, I mean, we're definitely going to be traveling more around Baja is like on the bucket list or on the list is to just explore the area where we live.
Hmm.
Now we can go and stay overnight at the beach, and we can go, down Cabo and not have to worry about coming home to look after the dogs or feed them their dinner at exactly 4:30. But eventually they are going to pass, and I would like to explore mainland Mexico. I do want to go to like Merida, in parts of mainland, and then going further south, like I want to go to Costa Rica and Honduras and Ecuador and, see more of South America and Latin America. And then eventually like over to Europe, and, I want to go eat Italian food and
Yes.
go to France and eat pastries. Like, you know, so more travel. Like once we don't have the tie to the RV, like I would just sell everything and get on the next plane
Right.
and go and travel like for real, which like live out of like a bag and just go explore.
So two things, I think it fits your evolution of just
Mm-hmm.
slowly exploring more. And two, you're one of us and you want to go everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. There's a whole world to see. There's
It
so
doesn't
much to
sound
see.
like you're going to stop at all. You're just going to keep going.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
going and exploring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any plans to like settle down and like, I'm not interested in that commitment of like buying a property or anything like that. That's a big commitment, and I'm just not interested. I just want to travel, and I would love actually to do a road trip like across the US. Like that was our original plan, was to do that. We couldn't because of COVID. But now I'm like, that would be sweet, like either in a van or like a small motorhome, and go and see like all of the national parks. And
Definitely.
yeah, I mean, our entire lives really revolve around the RV, and like our online businesses revolve around RVing, and we haven't even been able to RV in the US, and that's sucky. And it's something that I definitely want to be able to do, is go and explore all of those places that I encourage people to go see. Or all of our RVing friends are like, they're at Big Bend National Park, and like, oh my god, and like it just looks so amazing to go and see those places that everybody else is going.
Well, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for coming on. And if you want to just give your stuff a shout out again.
So I'm Jennifer, and I'm one half of Dashboard Drifters. My husband and I live in Mexico in our RV with our 2 dogs.
And how can they find you?
So I am on Instagram at Dashboard Drifters, and then I also have a blog, and you can find us at www.dashboarddrifters.com.
Awesome. Thank you again so much, and we'll definitely have you on again later as we hear about your adventures as they start rolling in.
Yeah, that would be great.
Thanks for coming, Jennifer. We had a wonderful time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was really nice.
Bye.
Bye. I don't know about you guys, but those tacos and all the fresh produce and the fresh meat just sounds amazing.
So good.
First of all, we are like some foodies over here. Not only are we craft beer girls, but we are some foodies. So once you start talking tacos and salsa and fresh ingredients, just shut it down. I'm all in.
All of that sounded great. I would miss my Italian food, like she said, but I think I could get by with all the rest of that food she described. And the ice cream.
It's like pros and cons, you got to weigh it out. So yeah, the ice cream, forget about it. Goodbye. Shut it down. It's over.
We were already excited to hear about her just from the little bit we knew. But then from the IPA in the beginning of the episode to her being a dog lover, she's definitely fitting in with us Jet Setters gals.
Yeah, she felt like just an old friend as soon as we like started connecting and talking to her. So it was really cool meeting somebody that felt like an old friend today.
And she definitely plugged her Instagram and her website, but you can also find her links on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
At Jet Set Hers Pod.
Our website.
JetSetHers.com.
And if you have anything you want to say to us, any crazy travel stories, anything at all, send us an email.
JetSetHers@gmail.com.
And you love us, so go rate and review.
You know what to do. See you next time, guys.
Bye.